ABC, DEF, GHI, JKF. Copyright 2015 by Andy Tiffin. Obviously, that would be ridiculous. Nobody can copyright the alphabet, but people and companies have been making copyright a gray area for everyone. Ideas are turning into death traps. Just by creating something you love, companies can put people, or other companies, in a lot of unwarranted legal trouble just because of small-scale idea or content reuse. Due to the nature of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act takedown process, incorrect takedowns, overbearing companies, and absurd laws present many problems for content creators. Copying. For some people, uploading things made by others onto the internet is no big deal, even though it's against the law to take what others have made and share it with others. Some do it anyway. Whether it's because they don't care about the law, don't know what they're doing is illegal, or some other reason, this leaves big and popular companies with hundreds or thousands of DMCA takedowns to request. The process is somewhat long at times, so many companies use automated systems to help with filing complaints. Unfortunately, using bots to determine the fate of off-screen content has a major flaw. While programs can have a decent idea of what is right or what is wrong, they can also have bugs. Total Wipes, a music label, caused this exact problem. Because of mistakes in their automated copyright system, Total Wipes attacked a ton of completely unrelated and uninfringing sites for absolutely no reason at all. According to Andy of Torrentfreak.com, quote, early July, the company began sending DMCA notices to Google, and out of more than 15,000 euros sent so far, the majority have been rejected, end quote. This number is even more astounding when divided into the total number of URLs requested to be removed by Total Wipes, 168,137, coming out to around an 11% failure rate. While using automated systems may be to blame for some of the abuse of the DMCA system, it's certainly not all of it. Large companies can usually get away with taking down fair use videos with copyright complaints just because they don't like their content being used. In the music industry, when companies spot their music being used elsewhere, a lot of their power comes from the fact that they have expensive lawyers and they can go after people for a maximum fine of $150,000 per song. To a company, losing one case out of thousands may not be a big deal, but to the individuals that are targeted, that's a house, maybe even a car as well. It doesn't help that companies are increasingly trying to copyright or trademark smaller and smaller things. Around a year and a half ago, King Games successfully trademarked the words Candy and Saga used in the popular game Candy Crush, causing several takedowns of apps by developers who didn't have the time or resources to fight back. Even worse, since King is a big enough company, they have had the time to fight the multiple claims that they're copying games and game ideas from other people. In the end, it's not coming down to who's right and who invented the original idea, but instead who has more money, power, and time. In other words, this broken law is turning a decent capitalist system into a tyrannical mess. Along with being constantly abused, the DMCA has some terribly thought-out rules as well. One of these is Section 1201 of the DMCA, which states that you cannot break DRM protection, which usually comes in the form of encryption, unless you apply for a ridiculously hard-to-get and maintain exemption. This exemption costs a trip to Washington, D.C., many hours of proving intent of fair use in court, and obviously way more legal knowledge than any normal content creator should have to know. Worse, it only lasts for 3 years. While this complicated process may root out the shady businessmen or women who want to fly under the radar by being technically but not morally legal, it's a huge hassle for anybody who wants to fairly use excerpts of protected content. That isn't it, though. Car companies have managed to get a law passed making it legal to mess around with the software in your own car. They are even trying to make it impossible to get an already impossible to get exemption by completely getting rid of that part of the law and replacing it with nothing better. All of this is opening windows for criminals to do whatever they want, while regular people are restricted from learning and building, knowing nothing about the bugs and failures in the technology around them. This law is again giving the power to major companies, but also giving some away to criminals as well. General copyright also lasts too long. At the length of the author's life plus 70 years, current copyright protection, for all practical purposes, prevents somebody from creating anything based off of something that is actually considered cool in their time period. While this law is more general than the DMCA, it still applies to the digitalized content creation process in the way that much media today revolves around stories and music. Many authors ignore this rule and just let fan usages of content thrive, but it still presents problems from time to time. Just recently, Lamar Larkin Jones, a fan of Pokemon, was successfully sued for $4,000 simply because he used two main characters in an advertisement poster. This charge left Jones in financial trouble for simply trying to have fun. It may be arguable that altogether, the DMCA protects creators from being blatantly ripped off by everybody, ending up with no money to show for their effort. This may be partly true, but the DMCA doesn't accomplish this goal very well. Because it is so ridiculously harsh, many people today just ignore it altogether and focus on trying not to get caught. Basically, this leaves the genuine creators at the same level as the full-fledged pirates when it comes to copyright. Also, it leaves companies with more cases to sort through and ultimately more work to be done. The key to making copyright law more effective is by making it less powerful. The DMCA is flawed partly because it lets anybody take down anything, even with minimal to no proof. It holds creators hostage. Without an overextended reach, people can be free to express their thoughts and ideas more effectively. Ideas would expire more quickly under a shorter copyright span, letting fans build off of the old ideas and pressuring companies to innovate.